Let's talk about the real reason why you keep self-sabotaging. Let's go. Welcome to the Prime Life Project podcast, a place to help you unlock your full potential, both mentally and physically, to become the best version of you. Welcome back to an episode of the Prime Life Project podcast. I'm your host, Daniel James, and today I want to talk about self-sabotage. It's something that I know all too well, and I know that you probably do too as well. Are you frustrated with making really good progress in a certain area of your life and then have it all come crashing down time and time again? Self-sabotage was holding me back pretty much my entire life. Not just when it came to personal relationships, when it came to dating people, like girlfriends, but also in business as well, and any other endeavor that I went into. And it's something that was a massive issue for me, but I didn't actually realize that it was. So I want to share with you some information that I wish someone had actually told me earlier on. So the truth is that you need to start being completely honest with yourself, because lying to yourself is the number one thing that's causing you to cause issues for yourself. You keep lying to yourself over and over again, and you lie to yourself, and then you end up lying to other people. Because you're lying to yourself, because you're not being honest with yourself, you then can't show up as this better, true, authentic version of yourself. So then you end up lying to other people, and then you feel guilty, shameful, and then you've got that internal friction. You know exactly what I'm talking about. We've got that real version of you, that better version of you that knows the difference between right and wrong. You know the difference between right and wrong. You know it. You know that you're not being honest with yourself. And this is what causes the issue, because then how you're actually presenting yourself in the real world isn't congruent with the kind of person that you are. It then causes more conflict. And then that compounds and compounds and compounds, and it causes more and more issues. And that's something that we need to address. But you need to stop justifying your actions. You need to stop justifying your actions that are sabotaging you, because that's what it all comes down to. You keep justifying it. You keep justifying it, and when you're justifying it to yourself, you're lying to yourself again. Kids know the difference between right and wrong. You know the difference between right and wrong. And this is what I used to do over and over again. I knew what I was doing was wrong, but I'd make these stories up in my head. I'd make these stories up to basically justify what I was doing, that it was okay. Maybe do the same thing. Let's use fat loss as an example. When it came to January, everyone trying to get in shape. Like, at what point did you then stop doing the things that you know you needed to do? And then at what point did you start justifying to yourself why it was okay that you weren't doing it? Oh, it's okay. I've already been to the gym twice this week. I don't need to do that. Oh, you've eaten good all day. You can get away with this. Or when it comes to relationships, oh, do you know what? She'll never find out. It's okay. How many times have you done this? How many times have you created this story to justify your actions that you know full well are self-sabotaging? Because that's where it starts. We start to compromise. We're doing certain things that give us certain results, whether that is financially, whether that's in relationships, or when it comes to your fat loss. You're doing certain things that get you good results. Let's even go back to mental health. You're doing certain things that get you in a good headspace. And then you start to justify these terrible actions, these actions that you know are stupid, actions that you know are moving you away from where you want to be. And we're compromising. But that one small compromise, it's not too bad. It's only one thing. It's only one compromise. But when you compromise once, it becomes easier to compromise twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. And before you know it, you're back to square one or worse. But then what actually you've done in that process is you've damaged your relationship with yourself again. And that's the problem. You are at the moment enabling yourself. Because you're making these stories, you're actually enabling yourself to self-sabotage. And there's this thing in the culture right now, like this do what you want mentality. And I'm all for that. Do what you want. Do what makes you happy. As long as it's legal, ethical, and moral, you're not hurting anyone, do what you want. But the problem is, when you go down that belief system, when you go down that whatever it is, we want to call it, do what you want mentality, great. We're looking too short-sighted. If I eat this cake now, yeah, do what I want. I really want this cake. But you're looking at it now for the next 5 minutes, the next 10 minutes. You're not thinking, do you know what, in 4, 5, 6 days' time, in a year's time, where's this going to lead me? These small little compromises. Ask yourself, what's the bigger impact here? What is the bigger impact? Now, we need to stop breaking promises to ourselves. We need to stop lying to ourselves, stop breaking promises with ourselves. And I use this analogy with clients all the time. The reason why we're struggling with self-esteem, self-confidence is because we've got such poor relationships with ourselves. And the reason why we've got such poor relationship with ourselves is because we keep lying to ourselves, as I said earlier on. If I kept lying to you, what kind of relationship would you have with me? You'd probably hate me. You probably wouldn't want to talk to me. You wouldn't want to associate yourself with me. Yet we're lying to ourselves all the time. And you're going to be with yourself for the rest of your life. You're going to be with yourself for the rest of your life. Let that sink in. It's time you actually rebuild that relationship with yourself so that you stop self-sabotaging and you gain that self-confidence, that self-esteem, self-respect, self. It starts with self. Stop lying to yourself. The analogy that I use here is if I said to you, right, I'll meet you at the airport tomorrow, I'm going to give you £1 million, I'm going to take you on your dream holiday. And you're like, oh my God, it's amazing. I built this big promise to you, make it a big thing. Yeah. Get emotionally involved in it. Rock up to the airport and I'm not there. And I'm like, oh, it's okay, we'll do it tomorrow. You rock up again tomorrow. And I don't show up. And that happens every single day. I keep making a promise and break it. And then I turn around to you and say, listen, can I just borrow 50 quid? You're going to be thinking, are you joking me? Are you joking? Like all these times you've lied to me and now you actually want my help? Not a chance. That's the relationship we have with ourselves. Because at one time you actually want to do better for yourself. You get that good partner in your life. You get this amazing job, whatever it is. That one time when you're actually now trying to do it, you don't back yourself because you've kept lying to yourself constantly. Now, before I go into what we can actually do about this, because key thing, if you're taking any value from this, don't forget to like and share it with a friend. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to click the subscribe and the like button. Again, if you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, don't forget to leave us a review and also follow the podcast as well. Like this really helps us get some amazing guests on. So the more that you share this, the more you get the word out, the more we can get some amazing guests on, which we have. We've got some real good guests lined up, especially some in-person ones as well. So what are 5 things that we can do? Number 1, start making promises to yourself and actually sticking to them. But start small. Something so simple as promise to make your bed every single day, but then actually do it, because that's how you rebuild that trust with yourself. If your partner or your friend breaks your trust, how do they get it back? They've got to prove to you that they are trustworthy. They've got to prove to you that they are trustworthy. So you've now got to prove to yourself that you're trustworthy. How do you do that? Make a promise, keep the promise, but start small. Don't start doing something big that you may not be able to back yourself on, because again, remember, you've still got a bad relationship with yourself. You've still got real poor self-confidence, real poor self-esteem, and a real poor self-image. So right there, don't start making massive promises to yourself. Start off small. Make the bed, drink some water, go out and get some steps, but do it every single day. Make a promise to yourself and keep it. This requires discipline. And again, remember, discipline is doing the things you know that you need to do when you don't feel like doing it, which is the thing that you lacked in the first place, which caused us to compromise. It was complete lack of discipline in here. You let that voice inside your head, that worst version of you, that paradigm, all that stuff that people have said about you, you let that bubble up and take over. You gave into your emotions, and you don't need to do that. You have complete control and autonomy over them. Number 2, develop emotional intelligence. Talk about this. Develop that emotional intelligence. Don't let your emotions determine your life, because if we act on emotions, that's when we make poor decisions. That's when we make short-sighted decisions rather than seeing the long, bigger picture. You can take control of your emotions. Again, we create our emotions. No one does anything that makes us feel a certain way. We make ourselves feel a certain way. If you can actually gain the awareness of your emotions, remember, your emotions are trying to tell you something. When you're feeling something, that is your body sending you energy that we've interpreted as an emotion. Your body's sending you an energy signal saying, something's not right here, pay attention to me. You've got to develop that emotional intelligence. That emotional intelligence is you understanding your own dashboard. When these lights are going on, what does it mean and what can you do about it? Emotional intelligence, number 2. Number 3, take responsibility for your actions, past and present. I didn't used to be a trustworthy person. I didn't. I used to be a horrendous person. I've made this very, very clear in previous episodes. I am not perfect and I'm not preaching. I'm just a guy that's messed up his entire life for 28 years and over the last 5 has actually done something about it. I'm not here preaching. I'm telling you that I had to take responsibility. I had to look at myself in the mirror and own the actions that I'd taken. But come from a place of love and compassion. I did not know any better. I was working with the information that I had at the time. And now from hindsight, from this version of me, I can see that it wasn't correct. But I didn't know that at the time. So start to forgive yourself, but you have to take responsibility. Take the energy back, own it, move on. Number 4, hold yourself accountable. You need to hold yourself accountable. You need to pass the tests when no one's watching. It's all well and good saying, yeah, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. It's all well and good telling your mates, yeah, it's all well and good telling me, yeah, Dan, do you know what, I'm on it. But when you're at home by yourself, when your girlfriend or your boyfriend's out, are you passing your own tests? Are you swiping on Tinder? Are you being dishonest? Are you sneaking and having cakes? Whatever it is, are you passing the test when no one is watching? Because you're watching and you will know. And that's the hard truth that you don't want to hear. You are watching and you will know. And finally, look at the bigger picture. Look at the bigger picture of your actions. Yes, right now you're getting a small hit, but what's it going to do in the next 5 years? Is there an impact here? Not even 5 years, in the next week. My actions right now, how is that going to impact me in the next week? Is it moving me towards my goal? Is it moving me towards the kind of person that I want to be? Is it making me honest, a trustworthy person, kind, compassionate, whatever it is that you want to be? You have to align those actions up, but take responsibility. If you took any value from today's episode, don't forget to like and share it with a friend. You guys are absolutely awesome. See you guys next week. Take it easy.